Good evening. Welcome, Spermaceous. Ah, can I know? Pashas Truma. We're learning Ma'aseh Mechocham Vatam, so let's take a quick look at the text and see where we are. Okay, so last week we described the Simpleton with his work, how imperfect his work was, and that the shoes that he would make had 3 corners, and he was very happy with it. And the maskana of the whole thing, what we spoke about, is that the shoe signifies the tefillah. It symbolizes the tefillah, the davening, and basically a 3-cornered shoe. In other words, a deformed shoe is a tefillah that is not proper. It is not what it's supposed to be. And the simpleton was very happy with it. So his wife said, so why do, if it's such a great shoe, why do other shoemakers take double the money that you do? And he responds, classically, like, what's it got to do with me? What do I care? This is his work. This is his work, and this is my work. I mean, why should we speak of other people? And he says, let's take a look at what it is that I actually get out of what I do. And he counts, and the basic mahalach, basic logic of what's going on here is the idea that no matter how much I got or didn't get out of my tefillah and my Torah and whatever it is that I had to do, regardless of what I did or didn't do, it's still, the nekuda is still, what did I get out of it? I mean, I got with my body, I got with my gashmis, I got with whatever it is, and I was able to lift it up a tiny dash, a tiny dot. That's the leather, that's the tar, the gashmis, the body, the thoughts. I was able to get a tiny bit out of this. It's pure profit. It's pure profit. It's one of the main lessons that the Simpleton is teaching us. Let's just wrap up his particular inyan and sort of like summarize it, because he is the manual instructions of how to serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu. And he was filled with happiness and joy always, Rabbeinu says. To the world, and to the people around, he was a laughingstock. He was a source of amusement for them, as they found someone they could mock as they pleased, for he seemed crazy. People would come and start speaking with him with the intention to mock him. And the simple one would say to them, just no mocking, no joking. No kidding. And as soon as they would reply to him, okay, no mocking, no kidding, he would accept their words and start speaking with them. Beyond this, he would not delve to suspect them of cleverness. Now, this is, this was all part of their mockery. Because a simple man, meaning, once he asked him, he asked him, no joking. He said, no joking. And that's it, he accepted it. He did not become busy with suspecting them, suspecting them of maybe they are mocking me, maybe they mean to mock me, whatever it is. He didn't have any part with this. He's no one interested. He was a simple man. Now, when he would see that their intention was to ridicule, he would say, so what if you are more clever than I am? That would then make you a bigger fool. Because what am I? For you to be, more clever than I am, for you to prove that you're more clever than I am, will just make you a bigger fool. On the contrary, it will just make you into a fool. When you are making fun of a fool, it just makes you a bigger fool. What's the big spritz about making fun of a fool? What are you proving? All this was the way of the simple one. And before that, he says, now let us return to our first subject. And we're going to go into the Maisa of the Chacham. So before we do this, let's just sort of like summarize what was this Indian of the Chach of the Tam and the Tmimis and all the thing that went with them. He says that when the simpleton would say, just no kidding, the minute they told him no kidding, he accepted their words and started talking to them because he didn't want to delve any deeper in to think chokhmas, which is in itself leitzonos Rabbeinu said, because he was a simple man. The thing that the people actually came to him to make fun of him, this is the nisayon of Klipas HaMolech. Klipas HaMolech comes to a person with jokiness. And that klipa, is mislabish in his friends and it seems as if, they come to do him favors. They come to open his eyes, to teach him seichel. They also explain to him that Tmimis is craziness, is tantamount to craziness. Rabbeinu teaches us that the only way to deal with, before the entire world, because you have to deal with the entire world, standing before you and disputing you and trying to make fun of you. Says you don't have to answer every person according to his chachma, according to his deviousness. In Mishlei it says, Altan ksilki volta, don't answer a fool like his foolishness. You don't need any chachma. You don't need any, you don't have to be sophisticated. Just answer simply, tmimistic, no jokingness. The tmimis means that you get to the main nakuda. The main point. The Chacham, as we'll notice later, goes around and around. He checks everything to find out, maybe he suspects maybe there's something bad in there. Maybe that's why he he couldn't find a profession that he was satisfied with. Because whenever he found a good profession, he says it was not enough. He was looking for another one, for another profession. The root of all this is the stronghold of the klipa of Leitzanas. The shirish of the fallen chokhmas. We said, all the midas, have, fell into this world. The chochem, the root of all the shirish chokhmas and the klipas and the chakiras and philosophy is the klipa of jokiness. Klipa of jokiness starts basically with the question of says who. Like who says? The minute that you start with who says, the minute that you start with irreverence, you're saying, it's like the whole thing becomes a joke. And it makes fun of the good. And what it does, it turns the bad into good and the good into bad. That's the reason by the Chochem that Nekuda by the Chochem himself confuses him and makes him question, investigate everything, even if the essence of that thing is good. No, maybe it's supposed to be the other way around. That's the thing that confused him. The thing is, you don't need to. You don't get confused. You don't owe anybody any answers. So we said when he saw that kavanah was olitzanas, so he says, no. So what are you going to prove when that you're wiser than me? Because what am I? I'm a fool. So you prove yourself to be more smarter than a fool. So what does it make you? It makes you a bigger fool. Besides the fact that it's a very, very, profound answer, is the fact that when a person argues with somebody who is really wise on a piece of chokhmah, some kind of a true chokhmah, the wise person makes things clear to you. He clarifies to you the profundity of the wisdom. And that causes your own chokhmah and your own comprehension to grow. And you become a bigger chacham. But with the tam, somebody who was just a simple person, there's no, you can't argue with him. What is it to argue? He does whatever it is he said. Tmimis pshitas, that's it, that's what he does. He doesn't understand any kind of sechel, any kind of chachma. He doesn't delve into all the point of views and this and that. It's not interesting for him. Whatever he does because he was told that that's the right thing to do and finished. So you can't argue with him, with seichel. The only thing that you can do is make fun of him. I mean, what are you going to do? You take a simple person, take a Tom, and you start arguing with him and giving him reasons and this and that, and this one said so. What's got to do with it? He's not interested. He doesn't have answers. So the only thing you can do is you can joke. You can make fun of him. You can mock him. But the minute that you mock a simple person, that doesn't make you any wiser. Otherwise, it makes you a bigger fool. Because leitzonos is the twistedness of the seichel. So anybody who makes fun of tmimus, his seichel gets twisted more and more. Anything that is written in any newspaper, anywhere, including the from ones, anywhere, is filled with chokhmas. It's filled with leitzonos. It's a totally twisted seichel from beginning to end. Whenever it is that you have an opinion about this or about that, in what's going on in this world, in politics, and in this and in that, it's nothing but chokhmas. What's it got to do with you? I don't know the story with, with the government, with Netanyahu, with this, with that. You have an opinion, he's guilty or he's not guilty or he's this or he's that. What has it got to do with anything? What's the point? There's no point. You're arguing with fools about foolishness. That's all you're doing. And the same thing applies also between you and yourself. It's not just arguing with other people where when you find yourself foolishly arguing against foolishness. We are all steeped, each one, according to his madrega, with that particular klipa of overthinking things. And it can even come, I would venture to say that, it comes from good intentions. We want to be good. We want to be good. But there are certain things that our minds are prisoners of that point of view. That makes us argue with ourselves from a premise that makes absolutely no sense. Why am I like that? Why am I always like that? Or why does my wife A, B, C, D, or whatever? Or why, and the thing is that even if I say, okay, right, listen, I'm not gonna ask these questions anymore. I'm not gonna this. I'm gonna accept me and myself the way I am. But I don't, because tomorrow I meet the same problem again. Either if it's from without or it's from within. And I keep on arguing between me and me, like, why didn't I do what it is that I wanted to do today? Or why am I not the way that I should be? The only answer is, no, without any mocking, without any jokiness, because I'm mocking myself as well. When I look at myself and I berate myself and I look, if I'm doing something wrong, I'm doing something wrong. There's no two ways about that. But the thing is that if I'm going to take whatever it is that I'm doing, okay, if I'm not looking at it altogether and I just don't care and I keep on doing, following my heart's desires, then a behemoth is better than I am. But the minute I'm aware of where it is that I am and what it is that I'm doing, to the extent that I'm aware, what is it going to do? What does it come from that I come and berate myself? I'm making fun of myself. Look at me. I don't do this, I don't do that, or I do this, I do that. I can't understand this, I can't understand that, and I can't stand my wife. My wife can't understand me. But this is all chokhmas. This is all litzonos. As we learned before, the minute that I find myself that I'm not happy, I'm not besimcha, I'm doomed. It means that I'm looking at things from the wrong perspective. Okay, so let's say that you have an opinion. You have an opinion about Netanyahu, about the government. You have an opinion about the mayor. You have an opinion about whatever it is that you have an opinion. No. Therefore, you're going to argue with your friends, and if you prove to them that you're right and they're wrong, and you manage to convince them, what does it make you? It makes you a bigger fool than they are. Because what did you do? You proved foolishness. You proved the eknech inside foolishness. What's the point? For what? For what purpose? The nekuda of accepting things as they come and understanding that it is the pluses that matter. Yes, the time of Hizbedadus is a time for you to speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, say, Ribbono Shel Olam. What am I going to do? I mean, this is not a joke. Obviously, it's not a joke. But I'm saying, I mean, when you speak to Kodesh Baruch Hu, then is the time to come with the Lev Nishbar. Then is the time to come with brokenheartedness. And he says, until when am I going to be caught up in all this silliness? But outside of this Vedas, none of that. Don't get into it, B'chlal. Just be happy. Be b'simcha. The way you davened, Baruch Hashem, you davened. Yeah, it was bekavona, it was not bekavona, you did it with a minion, you couldn't do it with a minion, you didn't do it, you couldn't, you didn't want to. Whatever it is that you did, you davened, and you did good. You did something good. You definitely did something which is definitely good. Is this as good as it could be? No. Could you have done it any better? Maybe. Maybe not. But that's neither here nor there. The main thing is that ze inyan shali. This is what I did. This is what I do. I want to do. I know that I want to do good. I know that I want to do good. So I have conflicting desires in me. So I have all kind of yitzaharas and lazinesses, or whatever it is that I have with me. Or I'm very irritable. I'm easy to anger. Whatever it is, no. If that's the way I am, that's probably the way I'm supposed to be. And just take it. Just totally take it. Totally take it and go with it. Let's take a quick look at what the Maisa is taking us here, and go a little bit weiter, because here there is a meeting between the Tam and the Chacham. And this what Rabbeinu says, all this was the way of the simple one, the simpleton. Now let us return to our first subject. Someone said that the meeting of the Chacham and the Tam is all something that happens, obviously to both of them, but it's not just a contrast to show us, look, take a look at the Tam, the simple one. You know how good the simple man is. Take a look at the wise man, how miserable he is. It's more than that. It also means that at a certain point in time, the tam, the simple one, confronts the chacham, confronts the chacham. In other words, it's no longer just people from the outside making fun of him while he himself is living an idyllic life inside his domain. Because a part of the growth of a person, even a tam, is that he meets with the chacham. Because it's his friend. In fact, the chacham came first. The klipas alitzonos came first. Esav comes first. So let's take a look at what's going on here. In the meanwhile, there was a big commotion because the clever one had traveled and arrived with pomp and great wisdom. The thing that happens is that when a person is a tam, when a person, just continues with simplicity to the end degree of what he can, that because in Lashon Rabbeinu it became a rash, a big noise, a big commotion. Rash is the letter of Rasha, of wicked. It arrives into the life of the simpleton. The simpleton too came running to greet him with great joy. And he said to his wife, "Quick, give me the silk robe. Let me go and greet my dear friend to see him." And she gave him the simple coat, and he went to greet him. On a deeper level, is the simple man is under an onslaught of chokhmah and bilbulim. I mean, until now we said that he didn't even have time to eat. He had to work so hard. Suddenly he runs out to greet him. He wants a silk robe. He wants to receive this inyan of bilbulim. Okay, the very same way that I accepted, the fact that I was making less money than anybody else. The very same way that I accepted happily the fact that, other people were making fun of me. That the very same fact that I accepted, with happiness, the fact that I ate only bread and water, and wore a single coat. So I accept the bilbulim also. The confusions, I also accept them. As, okay, that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends my way. That means he wants to wear a silk robe. He wants to have a kapata, the covered. But his wife is giving him the simple coat. A simple coat means you just keep the body warm. In other words, the clothing of the tam when he goes to meet the chokhmah is just warm up your body, warm up your heart. When you excite your heart b'kedusha, you will be able, to meet the chokhmah, whatever it is, because it is the fire of kedusha in your heart that is burning up the tumah of the chacham. And he says of the chokhmas that are coming to you. And the clever one, traveled in fancy covered wagon, and the simple one came to greet him, asking him about his welfare with great love and joy. He says, "My dear brother, what's doing? Blessed the one who brought you, and that I have merited to see you." Now, let's take a different angle on this particular scene. To the clever one, the whole world was as nothing in his eyes. In particular, a man like this, a tam. who seemed crazy. Nevertheless, because the great love of their youth that had existed between them, he drew him close and traveled with him into the city. It's incredible particular nakuda that the chacham, the tam who goes to the chacham and greets him with such love. So he asks his wife for for the cloth of the silk robe. The idea is that he wants to be dan the chacham kafschos. Let's see the side of the chacham that is my friend. That is my friend. But his wife, Mishamayim, they just gave him a pelts. They just gave him, as we say, a coat that warms his heart. And we said that the chacham that goes in this covered wagon, would ask, and he asks him with great love, my brother, how are you doing? In other words, the tam still looks only at the good that the chacham has. He only does he judges him favorably because there's a great deal of inyanim and chachma, great chachma. And over there, the true chachma, that chachma and tmimis is really close brothers. They aid each other. They help each other. And he says to him, blessed is Hashem, that I'm able to see you. Now he blesses the Kodesh Baruch Hu that he is even there, in the place where the Chacham is. In other words, Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who brought you to me. Mishamayim, they got me to think all these machshavas, all these noises of Chachmas. And because of the way that I look at things, that everything in Mishamayim and from Hashem Yisborach, I'm able to judge you favorably, to see what's good in you. So as Rabbeinu now is going to see how the Chacham looks in the world, what happens to a person who stumbles into Chachmas. And he already explains here, Rabbeinu says, the entire world is like it doesn't exist as far as this Chacham is concerned. Meaning, he judged absolutely everything, categorically. What's wrong? It's also called a news reporter. It's also called a columnist or a pundit. The main thing is, what's wrong here? Well, how can I show how clever I am except by finding what's wrong with other people? Everything that the Chacham does is to find what is it not. Not what good is in it, that is not interesting, but what's wrong with it. He would try to chesron everything, it's just mevat, just cancel it out completely. That's the exact opposite of the tongue. And how much more so a person like the Tam that looks totally crazy. Rabbeinu alludes to here is the reason that the Chacham cannot unstick himself from this negative way of looking at the world is because of the mistake of thinking that in order to live a good life, you need to be sophisticated. You need to understand, and find what's wrong with everybody and what's the lie in everybody. For such a person, he figures that for anybody to live such a good life like the Tam, you have to be crazy. You have to be crazy. He says, however, because of the Havas Nehurim, the love that they had between them when they were young, he was Makarbim and he traveled with him into the city. We're talking about the love of their youth. even though he planned to get in the city with a great pomp and circumstance, and got a whole crew, to get the royal reception for him, with candelabras and with an orchestra, in order to buy covered in respect. And within all this, even the Chacham discovers that it's much sweeter to love a friend of once upon a time. Because in the Havas Neurim, the love of childhood, that tmimus, the love of childhood, the tmimus and the Chochma are actually one and the same. When you're being done lekavschos, somebody, it puts within him the kernel, the seed of the ultimate tikkun. The chacham is the sophisticate is ill with a very grave mental illness of this world, of chachmas. The tam holds the key to a perfect life. By the fact that he is coming to be done, the Chocham Kafschos is putting in the kernel, the seed of the ultimate tikkun. The Chocham still has to go through a lot in order to get to his final tikkun. But that's the very beginning, because in the very, very beginning, there is a hava. The very, very beginning, there is love. The love is the oneness. Before all the wisdom came in, before all the chokhmas came in, before all the yeah buts came in. It's our relationship between us and ourselves. The the hardest thing for us is actually to get back and to look at ourselves, the innocent child that I am, that is within me. And remember the sweet child that you are inside. Because it's not a time to expand on this, but it is that affection that you must develop towards that child inside you. I hate to psychologize this, but there's ultimately the kernel of you reverting back to where you need to, the tmimis that is in you, the beauty that is inside you. Because a child, what does it need to be happy? You take some balls and some sticks and some whatever it is, and you have a game. You take a cardboard box and you make cut holes in it, and you throw a ball through them, and you have a whole world. It's like you don't need all the sophisticated toys, whatever it is. For a child, doesn't make a difference. You remember when you were a kid, what were the games that you played, was the game of your youth, stick ball or whatever it was, it's just like you made do. You made do with the little was in your hand, and you had a ton of fun. You can live the same life today if you're able to return to this tmimus that is in you. Remember the love that is within you. Then you can return to to having a ton of fun with a stick on a ball, with whatever it is that you are, the kind of havana that you have, the kind of life that you have, whatever it is you have to deal with. Hashem Yazo, Bezat Hashem. We will learn again in Mitzvah Hashem Wednesday night, Likutei Moharan 22. I believe that we actually finished that. We will start in Mitzvah Hashem Terich Gimel. And Thursday, Mitzvah Hashem, in Bresov Medrash, we will continue Torah Lamed Daled. We're about to finish that as well. We'll see what Torah to continue from there. And Motzei Shabbos, and Baruch Hashem, the world is continuing. And every single day, we're davening a little bit, we're learning a little bit. Baruch Hashem, with Rabbeinu, he has a great koyach to lean on. Baruch Hashem, the world is good. Kosh Baruch is good, our life is good. Hashem will bless you and me and all of us, with good life, and bracha and atzlacha, and you should be gesund, and stark, and everything else.